1 in 5 Canadians struggle with mental health issues, but only about a third will get the help they need. Well, now a company based in Toronto hoping to help with an online counselling service that caters to people's individual needs, no matter where you live or where you work. It's called Inkblot. It is Mental Health Week right across the country. Joining us in studio from Inkblot is Sabine and the creator of the program, Dr. Arash Zohoor. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
All right, first of all, explain to us, how does Inkblot work? It's a great idea.
We kind of combine several technologies. So we start off with a matching algorithm. So we start with people who have kind of just feeling restless, feeling down, struggling in various ways, would log into the system. We get a profile of what their needs are, their preferences, language, cultural background, what difficulties they have. And then we have about 65 or so therapists in the platform. And there's a match that happens that matches based on their needs and the profiles of the therapist.
There's numbers behind this to support that we have this accessibility problem. We're really good at prescribing medications. 91% of Canadians get their medications. Only 65% will get therapy when they need it. So how did you know that this was what we needed in this country?
Yeah, so I'm a family physician, and I do psychotherapy about a day a week. And I found a huge, dramatic difference between patients that I could schedule and see for psychotherapy and those that I just did not have the time to do that. And those that I could not provide counseling for, I was prescribing a dramatically higher amount of psychotropic medications. And it's kind of tragic that I'm in the spot where I can't provide them with the most effective therapy. So it became a search for finding a way of providing them that service in a far more affordable, accessible way. And from that, the service was born.
You both have a really personal connection to your involvement with Inkblot. Tell us your story, Julie.
After my background's psychology and psychotherapy, so I've always had a passion for mental health. And I actually experienced postpartum depression after my second child. And I went to my doctor, and of course, they prescribe an antidepressant for that. But having studied psychotherapy myself, I knew that I would benefit from psychotherapy. So I searched for a therapist because my doctor didn't have a list of therapists, and to get in to see a psychiatrist would take months. So I went back to the drawing board myself, called a PPD line, and they said that to get see a psychiatrist, I've got to go back to my doctor, get a referral. So this all took a few months.
Wow.
I had to push, and then I finally just ended up trying out a few counselors and finding a psychotherapist myself.
It's such a helpful tool because oftentimes when people get to the point where they're finally recognizing that they need help and they want to reach out and get help, even a barrier like, phoning a hotline and hearing 2 months, that can be enough to make you want to give up. So it's such a needed tool. But what about privacy? Because you're dealing almost like a Skype situation.
Yeah, and that's actually a reason why we created the platform. So when I started this, I had a patient that I had been seeing for a couple of years. He was a veteran who had been in the war and was struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder. And he moved away. So then he was traveling 2 hours to come and see me for sessions, and that just was horribly unfair in winter. And there were very few kind of secure ways of seeing him. So our platform hugely focuses on security. The sessions are fully encrypted end-to-end. We use a server in Toronto that's extremely secure in terms of any other data. All the information is completely encrypted to the therapist. So we, at its core, one of the 3 tenets we've really focused on has been the highest level of security possible. And that's a huge differentiator from using something like Skype, where the only person who has access to that data is the therapist. We have no access to any of that data, so it's very, very secure.
Does it cost more or less than traditional therapy, and is it covered by insurance?
So it's about half the price of traditional face-to-face because there's no overhead for the therapist. We have automated all the billing and scheduling and so on that normally they would have to hire someone, and they don't have to rent an office and so on. So it's half the price of traditional counseling, and most private insurance plans cover it as well.
I love this idea primarily for the fact that it removes the barrier of transportation. And no matter what age demographic that you're in, that can be a big barrier. I want to thank you both for being here today. It's a great idea. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you'd like more information about Inkblot, we'd love you to go to our website, yourmorning.ca.